Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and I'm wishing you an absolutely fantastic day because I am being assaulted by my sinuses, and it is terrible. So I'm hoping you're not suffering as much as I, but there's much worse out there. And hey, even in the most gloomy of days, there's some good stuff, like Xbox news. Hey, we're going to talk about a big next-gen exclusive that was announced at the Xbox E3 2021 showcase and some details behind the scenes of working with Xbox on that and maybe when we could expect the title. So that's pretty exciting, but on top of that, we have a new FPS Boost title in the library, one that a lot of fans have been clamoring for, and a potential Japan flop. Not really an unfamiliar sight for Xbox, but this one, I think, a little more significant with how things have changed with this generation and the investment in said product, plus a little bit on Halo Infinite. So we got a lot to talk about in this video. If you're new here and you suffer like me with sinuses, do subscribe. We need to make a sinus army at this point. And with that, let's talk Xbox, starting off with the big next-gen exclusive, which is Contraband. So like I said, this was announced at the E3 2021 showcase, pretty light on details. They explained why they went light on details, but also why they're teaming up with Xbox for this game, which I think shines some light on how other developers are going to be approaching Xbox, and it's something we've talked about pretty frequently on the channel, podcast, whether it's Ham Radio or Defining Duke. It's been a pretty consistent talking point that there's something now very appealing about teaming up with Xbox, and I think Avalanche really hones in on that. So let's read this exclusive interview with GamesIndustry.biz. We've had a great relationship with Microsoft, and working with a first party has been intriguing as well. Interesting choice of words. We'll get to that in a sec. Seeing what that actually means in the terms of support and getting closer to the hardware, he tells GamesIndustry.biz. It's a new type of partnership for us. We've had fantastic partnerships with Square Enix, Bethesda, and Warner Bros., but those are not the same as first party. There have been rumors that Xbox will buy Avalanche. I cannot confirm or even corroborate said rumors. I've heard nothing. But there have been rumors that those names are floating around. And when they say it's been intriguing to work with them, like it's almost eye-opening. That's how I interpret it. Just something kind of noteworthy in the word choice. Also, he talks about the support that the team is receiving financially. Kind of like I said, no more looking over your shoulder now because you got Microsoft at your back. But they continue on with some more details. Microsoft isn't the only first-party Avalanche could have teamed up with, but Hove says it has made a lot of sense to work with Xbox on this because of the grandness of the project, adding, it's not a concept we would pitch to every publisher. Once again, this is sort of the transformation I think we're going to see this generation. We've heard that PlayStation is doubling down on blockbusters, which in a way sucks, but it's also fine because they do an excellent job with them. But now we have something a little more creative and different. Rumors have been that this is like a heist-style game, almost like Sea of Thieves meets GTA Heist, which sounds really cool, in my opinion. And so that may be a little too wacky and creative for some companies, but someone like Xbox with Game Pass, which we're going to talk about in a sec, will eat that type of stuff up, right? That recurrent player base. And Avalanche, who has this big idea, and they're saying we could have only pitched this to Xbox. Our main key objective is growing our user base, even if it's not ours directly. In this case, it's going to be Xbox's, he explains. But we know that if we grow the user base, we know that the money and revenue will come. The main motivator for us as a company is not cash, it's entertainment. We're entertaining vast numbers of people. Okay. We're business owners here. Look, you got to pay attention to money in some way, shape, or form. But here's sort of why I'm excited about Game Pass, but I understand some of the worries about how games are made. There has been comments directly from Xbox saying, we're not making games directly for Game Pass, but here you have someone working in an exclusive capacity with Xbox, and one of their primary drivers is Game Pass because they're saying, which I've never really seen a developer say before, the money and revenue will come. And I don't know if y'all paid attention to Avalanche like 5-6 years ago, but the money and revenue was not coming for them. It was not that easy. That's sort of the mindset that Game Pass is creating for creators, which is very good, right? They can just make the game. But this is likely going to be a live service style title. It's going to get recurrent updates, all that good stuff. And that means that essentially the money and revenue will come for them because they're making it with Game Pass in mind. And it was a particular game they could only pitch to Xbox. It's something I've battled back against multiple times. I've said time in, time out that, look, Xbox can say all they want. Like, yeah, we're not making games for Game Pass. It's probably because it wouldn't look that great now. But in a sense, they are. And I'm not even trying to make it sound like it's a bad thing, but they are. Just look at the words here. They absolutely are. When money in a high-risk field suddenly becomes, it will come I mean, what more do you need to see? But let's continue on. Herein lies another crucial aspect of Microsoft's deal with Avalanche. In addition to bringing the game to market, the platform holder is working closely with the studio on ensuring Contraband makes the most of the Xbox Series X and S hardware. This is also bolstered by Avalanche's ongoing work on its Apex engine, with Hove confirming that Contraband runs on a brand new version with a lot of special sauce added to it. Contraband is due for release sometime in the future, according to Hove, who offers no hint as to when we might learn about the upcoming game. That suggests the final product could be years away, which begs the question of why drop such a teaser at this stage. It creates a dialogue, Hove says. It's about keeping people talking about it and not just when they're playing our games. Starting those dialogues is really important, and if you show everything from the start, I'm not just speaking about Contraband specifically here, but you want to get players into the habit of talking about your game. As Xbox players, you know, hey, we're going to get next-gen stuff, like next-gen exclusive stuff, not Xbox One stuff, but next-gen exclusive. And that excites the user base that's buying in, or if you haven't bought in, you can stream it to your Xbox One or to your phone or your PC, right? There's so many ways to engage that the overall player base is excited. And if you look on the other side of the fence at PlayStation, where I think they're doing a great job with the likes of Returnal, Demon's Souls Remake, and of course, most recently, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, you look into their future, and that might change a little bit because we're seeing a state of play soon. Well, as of the time of recording this video, the state of play have already happened, so that may actually be subject to change. But still, PlayStation is laying out the land for their next-gen future, and it isn't as extensive currently as Xbox's in the sense of you can look at something like Avowed and know, yeah, that's next-gen exclusive. That's a big difference maker. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting interview on Contraband. Now let's get into a potential flop in Japan. So a game that was reviewed at the Xbox Gameplay Showcase last year, and that very showcase, you know, it didn't have much gameplay. But one game that did have gameplay was Scarlet Nexus, and this game looks awesome. I have yet to dive in. I purchased a copy to support the devs because this game has gotten like zero marketing, it's gotten zero attention, zero hype, but it's reviewed well, it looks great, so I'm ready to dive in some point this summer. But Xbox went pretty hard with this game. They revealed it on their stage. A lot of people thought it may have been a Game Pass game because that's sort of been the expectation Xbox has set for a while, is you bring it to the stage and it's either exclusive or it's for Game Pass. I mean, look at this past E3. There were 3 out of 30 games that were not coming to Game Pass. That is an insane ratio. 27 others Game Pass Day 1 or console exclusive. That's crazy, right? So they've set this expectation themselves, and with Scarlet Nexus, they even dedicated their ending of the Xbox Extended Showcase to Scarlet Nexus. So you'd think that the Xbox sales would be pretty strong, and we have yet to truly see the numbers here, but PlayStation is doing very well with this game, and it shows that they are still the home to JRPGs, and Xbox has a lot of work ahead of them. Now, keep in mind, Xbox is a mostly US-centric market. We do not have those numbers, but we have numbers for Japan and we have numbers for the UK. And with Xbox growing globally and Japan being sort of an outlier, when you look at the UK, I do think it paints a picture of still how much work Xbox has to do in Japan and with Japanese games. So let's take a look at the numbers. This comes from Push Square, which says the other new entry this week is Scarlet Nexus, which debuts in 8th in the top 10 sales for that week. It sold best on PlayStation, with PS5 accounting for 58% of sales and PS4 pulling in 21%. That's close to 4 of every 5 copies sold being for Sony platforms. Not something you want to hear if you've just invested tons of marketing into a game. Granted, it wasn't very loud, and the reason I say that is because when you see the numbers for Japan, where you think the game would do its best, those numbers didn't pop very loud. With that said, when it comes to UK, these are physical retailer numbers. This isn't accounting digitally, so there is still room for doubt, which I think I made it very clear earlier. But there's still room for Xbox to edge in some good numbers somewhere. But so far, if 4 out of every 5 copies are going to PlayStation, at least physically, that's not an encouraging sign. And then you look in Japan. Famitsu reports other new releases this week include Scarlet Nexus, which sold 20,160 copies on PlayStation 4 and 11,008 copies on PlayStation 5 for a combined opening week total of 31,168 retail copies sold. Japan is one of PlayStation's biggest markets. And if they're selling 31,000 copies of Scarlet Nexus across all PlayStation platforms, number one, it's a sign of how undermarketed this game was, despite being something new, right? Bandai like markets the hell out of Jump Force and all these anime spin-offs, but they do something original that looks really cool, and that gets nothing. It just, I obviously don't know the inner workings of that type of stuff, but to me, it's very shocking. But anyway, you take a look at something like that, and if you think that 20,000 sales on a PS4 is low, then when you look at the Xbox in Japan, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say I would be shocked if it crossed 3,000. I really would be. So it doesn't paint really a bright picture for Xbox when it comes to Japan. And what's the solution to this? I think it's major investments. I think when we look at the rumors with Hideo Kojima, that will bring confidence that Xbox means business in Japan. That's a legendary Japanese game director. And as they continue to build those partnerships through Game Pass and they start to see the numbers, I think that will build over time. But it's really going to be through player numbers. I don't think it's going to be through sales, and I don't think it ever will be through sales. So we'll see in due time, but I think they just need to continue to invest, and they'll turn that corner eventually, because Game Pass can really muscle out just the PlayStation dominance of JRPGs. I just want people to play JRPGs everywhere. Like, I don't like that people have to wait to play Persona 5 Royal. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I want everyone to experience that. I want that thing on Switch. I want that thing on Xbox. So I know Xbox is working to get that on there, but right now it's just locked on PlayStation. You can't play it on PC even. So for me, it's the idea of just getting people to experience these games. Next up, FPS Boost for Dark Souls 3. One of my blind spots in gaming. I need to play this game. I never played it to completion. I've played a disgusting amount of Bloodborne, beat that tons of times. I've played even Dark Souls 2 and completed that a number of times. Dark Souls 1 is one of my favorites. I've played that over and over. Sekiro, I am weird and not too crazy about. I've played a lot of FromSoft games though, but Dark Souls 3, I don't know what I was doing in, I think it was 2016 it came out, but I missed out big time. And I believe in PlayStation back compat, this game already ran at 60 FPS, but now FPS Boost has allowed Dark Souls 3 to run at 60 FPS, and a lot of fans were thrilled about this. So if you're going to dive in, now's a great time. There's so many things on my backlog that are building up. I want to do this. Pillars of Eternity is on my list. These are two of my biggest games for 2021 reviews that I want to nail this year. But when I'm balancing that, and I just played the whole Dead Space trilogy for a different video project, there's so many games I got to play for videos and for myself. I want to play Judgment before Lost Judgment comes out. So many games, and that hurt. I shouldn't have yelled like that. Oh my God, my sinuses. What was interesting though is Jason Ronald confirmed over on Twitter that they required a brand new technique unique to Dark Souls 3 to enable 60 FPS. This could mean that the floodgates will open on other games if they discover this technique. Maybe they can apply it to other games. What's also interesting here is that they are making special exceptions for special games, and that means they're listening to the community. So that's very much an encouraging sign. And hopefully this means that they're going to add Death Row to Xbox Series X backwards compatibility so I can play my crude-ass sports fighting game in 60 FPS. Or let me stream my 360 games to my iPad so I can play Dead Space in bed. Last tiny bit of news here. Halo Infinite flight testing, something that people are very excited about. And it looks like maybe within the next month or so, we should be seeing something as the release timing winds down. Here is what Brian Gerard said over on Twitter. PSA, with each week, we're creeping closer and closer to the Halo Infinite multiplayer technical preview. A key goal is hardening and validating at large scale. Help us out, spread the word, opt in, verify your email, and be ready. So this definitely seems like something that's coming relatively soon. If you have not signed up, be sure to. Guess who hasn't signed up? Right here. Stupid me. E3 was a scatterbrain kind of week for me. I was all over the place working a ton, doing lots of analysis videos. So I got to sign up. I got to get on that. But besides all that, just want to inform y'all. Quick reminder at the end of the video. And now I wrap things up and I'm going to go lay in bed with a cold cloth on my head and hope my sinuses just die. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. I'm certainly excited to see your thoughts. And with that, I'll talk with all of you very soon. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.